Welcome back to the universe of power. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power universe. In episode 6, we saw Tariq elevate to a whole new level, while we also saw just how dangerous Detective Carter can be. In today's video, I will break down how the events that took place last episode could have a domino effect on multiple characters going forward. I will also cover how Tate and Detective Carter may have more in common than you think. Stay tuned towards the end of the video where I will point out one major clue that could line up with my theory from my last Ghost Town video. Early on in episode 6, we saw Tariq gain leverage on Noma by threatening to expose evidence of her criminal enterprise that's stored on the flash drive that he took from Junior. While I don't really think that Tariq actually has any type of evidence on Noma, I do believe that Tariq pulled a ghost-like move on Noma in order to keep her from coming after him. Tariq also threatened to tell Anya about Noma killing her father. I think it's only a matter of time before Anya finds out, and when she does, I believe Anya will completely break away from Noma. But Anya could also be done with Tariq as well once she learns that he knew about Noma killing her father the entire time without saying anything. And I wouldn't be surprised if Noma ends up shipping Anya back to London. Next up, we saw Carter and his team raid Monet's house to find out who she stole the product from at the warehouse, while also taking Drew to jail so that he could take out an informant. While I still think that Kane will ultimately be the one to take out Drew, there's still a chance that Carter could have an inmate or guard take out Drew while he's locked up. Currently, Carter and his team are trying to put the pieces together to find out who the connect was that Monet and Drew robbed at the warehouse, which we all know is Noma. In my opinion, I think whenever Carter and his team finally figure out that Noma is the supplier, they could have her join forces with them to come up with a plan to set up Tariq and the Tejadas in some way. Speaking of Noma, I found one specific scene to be very interesting. When Tariq was having a conversation with Anya about Noma, we learned even more information on Noma that we didn't know previously. We saw Anya tell Tariq that Noma is based in London and Milan. But what stuck out even more for me was when Anya told Tariq that Noma goes to Nigeria all the time to visit her brother. In one of my previous videos, I predicted that someone else could be running Noma's operation from a distance. In my opinion, Noma has never really stood out to me as a leader, and she has never given me the impression to be the brains of her own operation. Could her brother in Nigeria actually be the person in charge that runs the operation? I think it's possible that Noma is only the face of the organization, while her brother in Nigeria could be who actually calls all of the shots. In my video that I did on RSJ a few months ago, I brought up how we shouldn't rule out a connection between RSJ and Noma. How crazy would it be if we learned of RSJ being Noma's half-brother instead of Ghost? It would explain how Noma knew where to find Tariq and Effie when they were in Milan. It's only a theory, but either way, I think that they mentioned Noma's brother in the scene with Tariq for a specific reason, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Noma's brother come to America to avenge the death of his sister in Tariq's next chapter. Moving on, in episode 6 we got to see Effie's reaction to Tariq getting Diana pregnant. Now of course we all knew that Effie would find out one way or another, and we also knew that Effie would be jealous because deep down she still has feelings for Tariq. The question that I have is, will Effie eventually turn on everyone? Tariq has moved on from Effie with Diana, and Kane is still wrapped around Noma's finger, so that really leaves Effie out of the loop when you really think about it. I believe that if Carter and his team come across Effie at some point within these next few episodes, we could see Effie work against Tariq, Noma, and the Tejadas if Carter somehow presents Effie with an offer. They really teased us with that scene of Effie getting caught during the drug bust at the Russian's bar. Part of me thought that the officer was gonna pull the trigger on Effie. Later on, we saw Tariq with the help of Davis McLean gain Noma back as a connect once he took out Zion, just as I predicted in my last video. The fight scene between Zion, Tariq, and Braden was one of the better fight scenes of the season in my opinion, and we saw Tariq finally gain the respect of Zion, just before Tariq pulled the trigger. But what was very telling in this scene was when Zion told Tariq that Carter owns them all. and we saw Tariq tell Zion that nobody owns him. And then we see Zion reply by calling Tariq Lil Ghost. This was very telling in regards to the speculation that we had on whether or not Carter had Ghost on his payroll. After hearing Zion, it's even more clear that Ghost never gave in to being extorted by Carter, and that could very well be the reason for the vendetta that he has with Tariq. Stay with me because in a second I will point out a major clue that we may have gotten concerning Ghost. Now, just as I predicted in multiple videos, Detective Carter ended up killing Tate's brother Kamal. It was obvious from the very beginning that Kamal would end up realizing Carter and his team were all crooked, which ended up leading to his death. But I didn't think that Kamal would be that naive to confront Carter about what he saw. Well, we know that in the next episode we will see Rashad Tate learn of his brother's death from Carter, and I think that it won't take long for Tate to figure out the truth on how his brother was really killed. You have to keep in mind that Detective Carter is somewhat exactly who Rashad Tate was back in the day. Before Rashad Tate got into politics, he was a dirty police officer, as we learned in the OG Power series.
Rashad, you the same shady motherfucker you was back when you was a cop. Let me be real with me.
Maybe not to the extent that Carter is, but in my opinion Tate will sense that something is off about Detective Carter, and I believe that we could see Tate get in contact with Davis McLean to find out what he knows about Carter at some point in these next 2 episodes. And this could be when Tate learns everything that has been going on with Tariq, the Tejadas, and Carter, which could create an alliance between Tariq and Tate to come up with a plan to get Carter kicked off of the police force. In the final scene, we saw Diana have a scuffle with the female detective on Carter's team, who ended up fighting dirty by kicking and stomping Diana in the stomach as she was on the ground. Now we all know that after seeing the preview trailer for the second half of the season that came out a few weeks ago, Diana will not lose the baby. Tasha can clearly be heard in the trailer saying that the baby is Hope, and Tariq can also be heard telling Diana that he will be there for her and the baby. After the attack on Diana, a few moments later we see the camera filming Tariq at a distance as he goes from inside of the restaurant to finding Diana on the side of the building, with a still shot. This scene, in my opinion, was strategically shot this specific way. This particular camera angle gave off the impression as if someone was watching Tariq directly across the street at a distance. I find it odd that we only see these particular camera angles when Tariq is outside. Like I pointed out a few videos ago of the scene where someone was watching Tariq and Braden in the shadows. In my opinion, this final scene of Tariq and Diana from episode 6, I believe that someone was definitely watching Tariq and it could very well have been Ghost. Episode 6 did a great job making Detective Carter's character even more dangerous, and I think that we could see Diana get her get back on the female detective and possibly even take her out. What are some of your predictions for the next episode and beyond? Let me know in the comment section. Stay tuned for my next video within my Ghost Town series, which is titled Ghost Town Reloaded: The Lost Files. I don't want to give too much away, but this will be somewhat different than my previous Ghost Town videos. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power Universe. See you all next time in the Universe of Power.